and you told me once that you spend a lot of time checking every word in the annual reports, picking every graph that appears. And when you sent me those annual reports, I thought, oh my God, I have to go through all these numbers. But they were works of art. What inspiring.
So when I joined the University of California 9 years ago, there was nothing in my office. I'm a minimalist most of the time, but there was one book on my desk. It was a blue book, and it was annual reports of the investment assets from 1963 to 1995 for 32 years, 10 years before I was born. And no one left me an operating manual on how to invest for the university. Nobody left me any instructions on what to do on the first day of the job. So I skimmed through this book and I kept looking at it for a while. And I realized that my job at the UC is finite. My time at the University of California is finite. And my contributions will also be finite. And that's true about almost anything and everything in life. I think we get too wedded to whatever we do, thinking there is no expiry date or there is no end point. But the reality, there always is. So it also dawned on me that the importance of annual reports on my desk were to remind me of the history that the institution has. And therefore, my job and my team's job is to ensure that the foundation we create today is going to have a new history that will be charted over the time I'm there. Now, when I joined, we were about $80 to $90 billion in assets, endowment, retirement, banking, insurance type assets. So I realized that one of the most important things I can do every day or at the end of a year is take the time to write the journey. So I obsess over this. And Diane is looking at me and she knows that this is my absolute passion, is to sit down and think about the story for this year, why it matters, what it says, and how to tell it to the 500,000 to 600,000 people in our community. So I take the time for months. I pick every word. I work very closely with Diane, my chief of staff. We articulate the message. We pick the charts. We pick the colors, and we go through this experience in a very fun way, because you got to have fun. By the way, this year I'm thinking mint green might be the color for the annual report. I've already started thinking about that. It's kind of like the Tiffany box. So by doing that, what it does is it gives me an opportunity to chart the journey over the last year. And that journey will define the history of the time that I spend with my team at the University of California. And it inspires me when I read about it 3 years from now. Every time I start to write a new annual report, I go back and read every previous annual report that I wrote to remember where I came from so I can figure out where we're going. And this is just a passion of mine. And candidly, not just is it a passion of mine, even the designers we use. In fact, on the 16th of May, they just got the Art Director of New York. They got a gold and 2 silver medal awards for our annual report this year. So it really is a work of art and a work of thinking and a work of a journey. But most importantly, when I'm gone and the next CIO comes in, it'll tell you why we made the decisions that are going to impact the next 100 years of how we invest for the benefit of your kids.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that passion. I'm curious, if I asked Diane what it's like to work for you, what would she say?
I'm a tough boss. I pay a lot of attention to detail. It sounds like a job interview. Maybe I should get Diane up here to answer that question. It's a tough job. And I think any leader in this room, and you're all leaders, you're investors, you're entrepreneurs, our responsibilities and our jobs do not end in the technical products that we develop or in the GUI interfaces or the modern language models that we invent and artificial intelligence that we cook up. It doesn't end there. You have to worry about the ethical implications of what you design. You have to worry about how it impacts human beings. You have to think about the social implications of your decisions and your actions. So I think my job is tough, yet it's exciting in a way, because it isn't just about investing. If I just was investing, that would be one thing. But I have to think about climate change. I have to think about fossil fuels and the risks we take by investing in fossil fuels. I have to think about environmental, social governance issues. I have to think about, lately, the affordable housing crisis we have in California and the blue states and the United States of America. I have to think about the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and why it is important to have women and people of color in the roles that we want them to succeed in. And I have to think about why 98% of the white men in America are the ones that are managing, or 98% of the money that's managed in America is by white men. These are issues that go beyond investing, but left unaddressed, they make the life of an investor very difficult. So I can be tough and I can be challenging because of the complexity of the issues, but because we work on these tough things, we're hoping we can make things better for our university and broadly for society, and we can make a small difference in having an impact because of the investments that we make and the choices that we are afforded to make on a daily basis.